Cool.
So basically, we've spent the last few days just interviewing a series of food truck owners who, as we discussed, we connected with on Reddit and via email, and some consumers in physical locations. And that's something we want to ramp up over the next few days. But we've had some insights, and the first one I think really came out during two of our interviews, where I interviewed somebody called PJ who owns a food truck in British Columbia. And basically, he was talking about how he buys food every week. So his food for the week arrives every Wednesday. He has an offsite facility with storage and coolers. Basically, he cooks things for the next 2 days and then recooks and recooks and recooks. But he was saying that he's very lucky, and the majority of food truck owners don't have that because they just don't have the room. And it means that they have to buy food every day to then prep that day for their food truck, which leads to two problems. So one, it means you miss out on bulk prices because you're buying things every time, which is 20 to 30% more expensive, and you waste a lot of time having to go to the supermarket every day. And this is something that came out in an interview Jerry did as well. And basically, what we found is that there's really a need for storage and in particular kind of cooling for food trucks.
Yeah, and then we also talked to some consumers, and one of them was talking about how during lunch and dinner there were always massive lines, but then 20 minutes later they would just be completely gone and he could just go up and it would be nice and easy. But then also at places that are tourist attractions or stadiums where there are a lot of food trucks, then that causes unpredictability in the lines, and those are often due to popularity. And so sometimes that would attract people but also deter them because then they would have to wait longer, but then that also could mean that the food is really good. But this also is hard for producers because then everything is just so unpredictable when it comes to cooking and prep, and it's just tough for food trucks.
Yeah, and I interviewed two people, one person from SF who works for Rolly Roti, another person who had a food truck in Louisiana. And something that was really interesting and common between the two was that there are many smaller costs that people don't really look into when owning a food truck, such as maintenance, and that actually drives down the profit margins by a lot. It's something that a lot of people don't really consider, and among other small things such as sanitation, making sure that you have duplicates of everything, so if something gets dirty you can easily replace it.
Yeah. So just to summarize, I guess our findings were: one is storing in coolage, the other one is that depending on where your food truck is, it makes demand management and figuring out lines very difficult, and three is that maintenance is very tough, and food truck owners really need support.